You're watching Newsday TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ken Bufa. An East Quogue man who tortured his friend for 6 hours before killing him has been sentenced to life without parole. Home surveillance video used at trial showed Jeremy Allen beating Christopher Hahn of Hampton Bays with a baseball bat, covering his head with a garbage bag, and cutting his throat. A Suffolk judge says the 44-year-old committed the most brutal, torturous, and sadistic murder he had seen in nearly 50 years. And a crossing guard is in critical condition after he was struck by a driver who prosecutors say was high on drugs.
He had appeared to have fallen asleep driving the car. He then, a couple of honks of a horn, he went forward. As he came into the turn to go northbound on Merrick Avenue, he swung the turn far right outside of the lane, jumped the sidewalk, and struck our crossing guard.
Authorities say 30-year-old Joshua Alvarado of Queens was behind the wheel. They showed his picture today during a news conference. Alvarado has also been charged with vehicular assault. Officials say the accident happened this morning near the Merrick Long Island Railroad Station on Sunrise Highway. Authorities have not yet identified the 70-year-old crossing guard. See Newsday's year-long investigative series looking at Long Island's dangerous roads at Newsday.com. A Mineola man is being charged for allegedly operating a makeshift shooting range in his basement. Authorities say they also found assault weapons, a ghost gun, and 6,000 rounds of ammunition at Wen Lung Chow's home.
All of this activity is extremely dangerous. All of it is illegal. But what I want to stress is that even more terrifying is that this illegal, dangerous activity was happening steps away from several schools.
Chow's yard borders a Mineola School District soccer field and is close to Chaminade High School and Jackson Avenue School. Chow pleaded not guilty and is being held on $250,000 cash bail. The Island's 16 movie multiplex in Holtsville was shut down yesterday because of a faulty fire detection system. Now, officials say the cinema cannot reopen until that fire system is fixed. All right, let's take a look at tomorrow's weather, shall we? It was a pretty decent day, temps in the 40s. We still had that snow, but at least it was somewhat warm. Tomorrow we have sun overhead with temps again near 40s. Of course, we'll have that 7-day forecast for you later in the broadcast. A viral video has been circulating showing a hole more than a foot wide in the deck of the Fire Island Inlet Bridge. As Newsday transportation reporter Peter Gill explains, the bridge had been inspected during the past 2 years.
Last week, a video went viral showing a hole through the Fire Island Inlet Bridge. The bridge had to be shut down last summer in July after a boat captain apparently saw some concrete falling from the deck. And emergency repairs were made then. We looked at the records of inspections of the bridge, and it turns out that the bridge was inspected just a month before the emergency closure in July, and it received a rating of not poor from the state, which means, according to their rating system, it didn't receive the lowest grade. The Department of Transportation has said that the bridge is safe now, and structural engineers that we talked to independently said that they also think it's safe. It's not necessarily an issue with the structural integrity of the bridge.
Newsday at the movies. I'm Macy Eglund. Long Island may not be the first place you think of when you think of the movies, but our home has a connection to some of the best films in the history of cinema. We're talking a hands-down classic, laugh-out-loud comedies, surreal sci-fi, and edge-of-your-seat thrillers. Joining me now with a list of some of the best Long Island movies is Newsday's film critic Rafer Guzman. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. Before we start and get into that, let's talk about the criteria. What was it for a movie to make this list?
Pretty simple. It had to be either set here or filmed here or both. Ideally, both. That's what really makes a great Long Island movie a great Long Island movie. We also tried to take quality into account. That means no to Batman Forever. And we tried not to lean too hard on Old Westbury Gardens, which is in many, many, many movies. But, you know, we had to throw a few in there. Okay, so let's get into this list. We start with arguably one of the greatest movies of all time, The Godfather. Tell us about that. Well, I mean, this is a classic. I really think this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
If you pull just about any Long Islander off the street, they're going to say their favorite movie is probably The Godfather. You know, it was set here in Long Beach. The Corleone Mansion is set in Long Beach, and it was filmed here. Two of the most famous scenes, I think, in the movies in general were filmed here. The severed horse head scene, a famous scene that was shot in Falaise, the Falaise Mansion, the one-time home to the founder of Newsday, Alicia Patterson. And then, of course, the toll booth scene with James Caan as Sonny Corleone. Terrific, amazing, violent scene. Set at the Jones Beach Causeway, but filmed at Mitchell Field, the old Air Force Base. So that's those are two huge scenes in the movies right there.
Absolutely. All right, so we know Robert De Niro, of course, was part of the Godfather trilogy. He was also part of a very funny comedy trilogy, Meet the Parents, and several locations in the first movie were filmed right here on Long Island, right?
That's right. So this is the one with Ben Stiller playing the nurse. He's trying to please his future father-in-law, played by Robert De Niro, and it takes place in Oyster Bay. It's a pretty long list of places that were filmed in Long Island. Their home is in Old Brookville. The tuxedo shop they go to for the wedding tuxedos, that's Greenvale's Victor Talbot's. The pharmacy, which used to be a grocery store, was in Port Washington. There's the real Oyster Bay Animal Shelter in Syosset. And the pre-wedding dinner is at the old Louis Oyster Bar and Grill in Port Washington. So there's a lot of Long Island. It's one of the most Long Island movies, and also set specifically in Long Island.
Yeah, they went all over the North Shore for that one.
They really did. They went everywhere.
Wow, awesome. All right, now to a kind of surreal sci-fi romance, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's one I have not seen. So there's a connection to Montauk in that?
Definitely. I mean, this is, Macy, this is required viewing.
I know, I have to see it.
You really should see it.
I
First
promise.
of all, it was written by a Long Islander, Charlie Kaufman. He's from Massapequa. And it's about a man, it's like you say, it's a little bit sci-fi. Yeah. It's about a man who is trying to erase all the memories of his ex. Jim Carrey plays the guy, Kate Winslet plays the woman. And there's a refrain that keeps coming up throughout the movie as he's trying to get rid of these memories. He keeps hearing her say, "Meet me in Montauk." And the end of the film takes place in Montauk. There's this very surreal scene of a wintry seashore, which I think is Kirk Park Beach. And then there's a very distinctive looking kind of shingled mansion, which is called Kilcare, if I have that right, in Wainscott. So there's two really iconic pieces of that movie that were filmed in Long Island.
Wow. Yeah, I definitely need to see that one for sure. So it's on the list. Finally, Uncut Gems, starring Adam Sandler. Lots of Nassau connections in that one.
That's right. I think most people would probably think of this as a Manhattan movie because Adam Sandler plays a guy who works in the Diamond District in Manhattan. But he lives in Roslyn. His home there was filmed in Roslyn. His wife is played by Idina Menzel, who's a Long Islander. There's also a great little cameo at the end of the film by this very interesting looking guy named Wayne Diamond, and he's a former fashion designer from Oceanside.
Oh, wow.
There's even a track on the soundtrack called Back to Roslyn when Adam Sandler is driving back home. And in fact, all the scenes inside his Diamond District shop were all filmed in Bethpage at the Gold Coast Studios in Bethpage. So it's actually a very Long Island film.
All of these films are. Let's take a look at the list again, just in case you missed any of them here and need a refresher. I think a lot of people may be a little surprised by this. This is such a cool thing. Wow, and that's just a few of them, right? You have a whole list of these.
We've got 50 of them.
Wow.
We've got as you said, we've got some classics. We've got some ones that you may not have thought of. We've got some very obscure gems on there, going all the way back to the 40s.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good list.
Okay, and you can check it out. So my thanks to Rafer Guzman, Newsday's film critic. You can read more of his reviews. See that list on Newsday.com.
All right, here's what's up on Long Island. Hockey is back at UBS Arena. The Islanders take on the Florida Panthers this weekend. Islander Bo Horvat was just on the same team as some of the Panthers representing Canada at the Olympics. Now they're playing against each other for a win. The puck drops Sunday at 6:30. See Riverdance in Brookville and celebrate the group's 30th anniversary as they perform traditional Irish music and dancing. It's Friday night at the Krasnoff Theater in the Tills Center for the Performing Arts. Mexican pop rock band Mana continues on its new tour with a stop on the island. They play UBS Arena Friday night at 8:30. For admission info and more events, click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. All right, it's time for the best in high school sports. Here's Jared Valuzzi.
There was playoff action all across Long Island in girls and boys hoops, and we had some dramatic endings. We'll start off on the girls' side, where William Floyd took on Huntington, and Melania Farrow for the Colonials. She's going to take this one from the logo and hits it. Floyd takes down Huntington. And also in Suffolk girls basketball, Walt Whitman's Paige Hiller, the pass to Hannah Creighton. She'll knock down the three-pointer as the Wildcats get the win. And in Nassau County, we'll go to Freeport taking on Uniondale. And look at this, a great pass will lead to Shania Bonney finishing through the contact, but Uniondale gets the upset win. And staying in Nassau, New Hyde Park's Maeve Downing. She thinks she's going to go inside, but she'll pull up from deep and connect from the top of the key. New Hyde Park gets the win. And on the boys' side, Deer Park and Smithtown East, Nusanti Delbridge of Deer Park is going to get the basket. They have the lead now. And on defense for the Falcons, Reginald Jean Lewis comes up clutch with the block, and Deer Park advances. And also in Suffolk County, it's Sayville's Wesley Jones going to get the ball and put it in. The Golden Flashes as the 7th seed get the win. And in Nassau County, Malvern, they were the top seed in this game, but Lynbrook pulled off a stunning upset. Ojiagu with the block, sending this one way back in the Owls' stunning victory. And finally, Jericho taking on Bethpage as Casey Deutsch. This one's tied up. He's going to pull up from way downtown and connects as Jericho stuns Bethpage at the buzzer. As those were the plays of the week in girls and boys hoops. Playoffs have been amazing so far, and I'll be back next week with some more great plays.
Also on this week, Sarah sounds off. Baldwin's boys and girls basketball teams look to go far in the playoff. To watch that, head to Newsday.com, click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. All right, let's take a look at your 7-day forecast to see how the weekend is shaping up. Hopefully we are done with the snow, and Saturday looks like we might have some flurries, but temps will be near 50s on Saturday. Friday, again, we have that sun overhead, and we have a mixed bag for next week. We'll deal with that when we get there.
Long Island weather is brought to you by PTRC.
For more on the stories you've seen here today, head over to Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. More news coming up.
There's more to Long Island than you know when you picture this. Join Macy Eglin for a journey through some of the major moments in Long Island's past through the lens of the Newsday archives. Picture This, available now at Newsday.com/picture this.